Hello, students. Welcome to Easy Elimu Learning Simplified. I am your teacher, Mr. Stanley Ombogo. Dear students, it is indeed my pleasure to have you and keep you informed about, some of the set texts that we have. That is by analyzing the uh, the set text and again looking at, very many things that are considered helpful. Dear students, we have been looking at the anthology A Silent Song and Other Stories. And in this episode, I'd like us to look at the sixth. I'd like us to look at the sixth story in A Silent Song and Other Stories. And that is The Sins of the Fathers. And the author is Charles Mungoshi. Charles Mungoshi, dear students, is from is a writer and author from Zimbabwe. That still, proves that indeed uh, the anthology is a unique collection that is of short stories from various societies across the world. Dear students, in that is The Sins of the Fathers by Charles Mungoshi. I'd like us to look at maybe some background information about Charles Mungoshi, and also get to look at the title, that is The Sins of the Fathers, and again, the plot or the synopsis of uh, the story. About the author, sorry, about the author, dear students, we are told that Charles Mungoshi was born in 1947 and raised in a farming family with the Chivu area of Zimbabwe. After leaving school, Charles Mungoshi worked with the Forestry Commission before joining textbook sales. So from 1975 to 1981, he worked at the Literature Bureau as an editor and at Zimbabwe Publishing House for the next 5 years. In the year 1985 to 1987, Charles Mungoshi was a writer in residence at the University of Zimbabwe. And since then, he has worked as a freelance writer, script writer, and editor. Charles Mungoshi has written novels and short stories in both Shona and English, and two collections of children's stories. That is stories from a Shona childhood and One Day Long Ago. We are also told that the author Charles Mungoshi has also continued to write poetry and has published, that is, he has one published collection of poetry. The milkman doesn't only deliver milk. That is the name of the collection. He has also won the Commonwealth Writers Prize, that is Africa region, twice. That is in 1988 and in 1998 for two collections of short stories, that is the Setting Sun and The Rolling World. Not forgetting Walking Still. There are also two of his novels, that is Waiting for the Rain and Ndiko Kupindana kwa Mazuya. So that is Mazuva. I think that is written in Shona, received international BN awards. So that is all about. So when it comes to the title, that is the title of the story, Sins of the Fathers. In the story, we see that the characters, relationships, and actions are heavily influenced by their fathers and the experiences they had with them. For example, Rondo's relationship with his father is strained and he struggles to understand the man's behavior. So his father's treatment of him as a child, including physical abuse and neglect, has left a lasting impact on Rondo's view of himself and his ability to be a good father to his own children. So Rondo has a father that is by the name Mr. Ruafa. So similarly, Mr. Ruafa's actions and beliefs are shaped by his experiences in the liberation struggle and his desire to maintain the power and status of the Ruafa family. So this ultimately leads to conflict with his son Rondo, who disagrees with his father's narrow-minded views and desires a different future for his own children. So Rondo has that is a father-in-law by the name Mr. Mzamani. So Rondo married a lady by the name Selina. So Mr. Mzamani is Selina's father. That makes Rondo the son-in-law. So Mr. Mzamani, on the other hand, tries to break the cycle of inherited prejudices and conflicts by encouraging Rondo uh, to see people as individuals rather than simply as members of certain groups. However, his efforts are overshadowed by the influence of Mr. Ruafa and the long-standing tensions between the Ruafa and Mzamane families. So that is Mr. Ruafa and Mr. Mzamane came from different that is tribes. So they had got tribal clashes way back that aren't settled uh, till the time that now the events in the story are occurring or happening. So overall, the title Sins of the Fathers is appropriate for this story as it highlights the ways in which the actions and beliefs of past generations continue to shape and affect the lives of their children and the future generations. So let's look at the next thing. So about the plot summary or the synopsis of the story. Uh, we are told that The Sins of the Fathers by Charles Mungoshi is a post-colonial story set in rural Zimbabwe. So it takes place between Borodale and Bulawayo, Zimbabwe. So we have got the main character, that is Rondo, whose revenge world opens the story's very beginning. So Rondo's father, that is by the name Mr. Ruafa, is an ex-minister and a liberation war veteran. So he is still influential in the political world of Zimbabwe. So this is evident from how a fraction of mourners just come to take pictures with him, for such photos would soon open doors for them. So remember, we have said that Mr. Ruafa is an ex-minister and a liberation war veteran. So he clings onto hatred and this obstinate refusal to forgive and forget causes the tragic death of his grandchildren and his son's father-in-law when they perished in a car accident that he plans. So Rondo has a wife, that is Selina. Selina is the daughter of Basil Mzamane, so who is also into politics as an MP and a businessman. He is a political rival of Rondo's father, that is Mr. Ruafa. So Rondo's two children, both daughters, Yuna and Rhoda, are in an accident as they are driving home from a birthday party with their grandfather, Basil Mzamane, where Ruafa takes to the podium to condemn his son for marrying from his enemy, that is enemy group. So this has a long created, that is bad blood. It has created bad blood between Mr. Ruafa and Rondo, his son. So that this accident makes Rondo believe that his father has a hand in it. In there are many stories, a revelation of what his friend, that is by the name Gaston, alludes to. Have you ever wondered about the Second Street accidents? So Rondo thinks that his father is involved in this. So Rondo wistfully imagines how his father-in-law, Mr. Basil Mzamane, and his daughters Yun and Rhoda met their untimely deaths. He hopes uh, they died happily, trying to erase his own pain. So the three Jolie family members are perished in a tragic car crash, that is after attending the birthday party at Rondo's house in Borodale. So I don't know whether it is pronounced as Borodale or Borodale. So he has been grieving for a week now, numbled by the pain. So Rondo is surprised when his father avows that one day he will be grateful and glad that the tragedy happened then and not later. So he adds by saying that you will remember me and thank me. Look at how evil Mr. Rafa is. So Rondo's thoughts wander to a distant introspection when his father lives. So the thought that he lives in his father's shadow knows him. He is not his own man. So his wife thinks she could do better in his pants, as he is a laughing stock among his friends and colleagues. So remember, Rondo was also given a work. Uh, he was given or offered a job by his father. He was woken up one day and told to report to work that he needs to be making his own money. So he's taken to a field where he is not comfortable in. So that is now Selena, his wife, seems to be the more confident and influential of the pair. So this can be attributed to the fact that they were brought up differently. Selena was brought up by that is people with long hearts, people who forgave others, while Rondo's father is an unforgiving savage. So his father is bombed out battlefield of scars, and his deepest scar is that he cannot forgive is not just his enemies, says Mrs. Rafa, that is his wife. So he cannot even forgive his wife or his son. So his bitterness arises from the past when his Zezeru Karanga clan was attacked by the Madziviti Ndembele clan. So remember, they are coming from different clans, and the two clans clashed. So Mr. Rafa and Mr. Mzamane came from different clans that had some clashes. So the war affected him so much that he always remembers the pain of the scars, sorry, rather than the relief of healing. So the situation is compounded by the fact that his son Rondo is married into a Muziviti, that is Muziviti family. So these really these are marriage that Mr. Rafa really disapproves. So, furthermore, Rondo gives birth to two girls instead of a grandson who would inherit Rafa's wealth and qualities like his charisma. Mr. Rafa is so disappointed in Rondo that it affects Rondo's personality. It is Mr. Rafa's ill treatment of his only son that makes Rondo, that is his son, a timid laughingstock among his peers. Uh, it is thus suspicious, dear students, that the grandchildren that Mr. Rafa considers inglorious die in an accident together with their grandfather, whom Rafa detests so much. So Rondo starts to put two and two together while interacting with his colleague and friend Gaston. So Gaston Shoko. So Gaston refers to the accident that claimed Rondo's children's lives as a typical Second Street accident. That is a subliminal hint that Mr. Rafa may have been the architect behind the accident. So the blood, the bad blood that is between father and son and also the two clans, the as the two clans, that is Mr. Ruafa's uh, clan and Mr. Mzamane's Maziviti clan. So the bad blood that is between the family is apparent at the party. So although Basil Mzamane is benevolent and compassionate, Mr. Rafa remains obdurate and unforgiving. So the two men's speeches at the birthday's party turn sour, betraying the underlying resentment. So another thing is that a day before the party, the two men also disagreed on the matter of white people in the country. Mr. Mzamane proposes that people should be viewed as individuals because some are good while others are bad. On the other hand, Mr. Rafa holds blanket condemnation of groups of people and views anyone who seems supportive of his supposed enemy as a traitor. So further back, Mr. Mzamane had taken care of the expenses of their children's wedding, while Mr. Rafa skipped the ceremony altogether, claiming he was away on state business for 2 weeks. So he didn't attend the son's wedding. So Mr. Rafa also hungers for a certain farm owned by a white man known as Mr. Quayle, and he is ready to get it by all means. At the party, they try to conceal the boiling agitation between them behind the tight smiles and loud laughs. Later on, Mr. Rafa recklessly talks about betrayals and enmity between clans and families, causing visitors to live uncomfortably one after another. In the course of this rant, Mr. Ruafa derides their weak sons to marry into families of their enemies and contaminate the pure blood of the family. So, in his father's that is presence, Rondo always felt powerless. So, his mother insists that the old man loves his son, but he does not know how to show it. So the story ends tragically when Mr. Rafa takes his own life using his service pistol after being confronted by his son, who he haughtily labeled a slob. So with that soft, muffled plop, the bitter past filled with the pain is probably buried. So the sins of the fathers are washed away by their own blood. So that marks the end of the synopsis of uh, sins of the sins of the fathers. Uh, that is by Charles Mungoshi, who is Zimbabwean. So thanks for watching, dear students, and keep it easy, Elimu. Bye.